This is a really incredible institution where we sit. And so it is my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Lori Fogarty, who is the director and the CEO of the Oakland Museum of California. For nearly 2 decades, oh yeah, here she comes. I'm just gonna give you a brief intro. For nearly 2 decades, Lori has led this incredible local institution, winning more awards than you can possibly imagine, and along with an amazing staff and in collaboration with countless artists, has brought idea after idea to life here. The mission of OMCA is to inspire understanding and empathy with stories and experiences of California's art, history, and natural environment to build more equitable and connected communities. You can see why we picked this place. And so you've had a whole day to experience this place. And remember, you still have a day to go. And what better setting for our conference than OMCA, which is, again, a place that is close to my heart. We're family members here. And so I'm delighted to welcome Lori.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. We're thrilled and honored that you are here and selected the museum for your venue for this gathering around connection. And just even hearing your remarks and the remarks earlier, it does feel like this is sort of the stars aligning for you all to be here. Very brief history, if you don't know about the museum. We're the Oakland Museum of California, really unique as an institution because we are multidisciplinary, so art, history, and natural sciences, all focused on California. This incredible landmark building opened in 1969, and it brought together 3 smaller institutions that had focused on these different disciplines in this one incredible campus that was designed really around connection, to connect to the local community, to kind of be a sort of porous indoor-outdoor space. And I always try to call forth this image because when the museum opened in September of 1969, just take a moment to think about Oakland in 1969. Huey Newton, the co-founder of the Black Panther Party, was on trial across the street at the Alameda County Courthouse. So it opened and was birthed in this moment of revolution, and its very distinctive kind of brand, really, before it was called, museums had brands, was the Museum of the People. And it was this idea that not only was it multidisciplinary and about California, but it's the stories, as you were hearing earlier, and oftentimes the untold or undertold stories of California, the stories of everyday life, the stories of resilience, and the stories that may not be what people think about in a history book on California. So fast forward, a lot of the work we do now is around a new kind of social impact framework that we articulated just a few years ago, because we were doing, I hope many of you have been here for Friday nights, for some of our major exhibitions, or will come back, because we see ourselves not only as a museum, but as really a garden and a gathering place and a civic anchor. So as that work was evolving in recent years, we developed what we call our social impact framework, which is very unusual. Many of you probably are familiar with social impact frameworks. This is unusual in the museum field. But we began to say, okay, if we're doing all this stuff and we're doing these great exhibitions and we're doing these public programs and cultural festivals, what does that really accrue to? And what we have identified as the role that we can really play in our community is around social cohesion, which is bridging or building trust, understanding, and connection between and among people, and particularly across difference. Very few places in our world allow us to have a sense of other people's perspectives, as you heard earlier. So we really design for that in our programming now, and we uniquely measure it with our visitors. How much are they seeing their own stories and identities reflected? How much are they gaining an understanding of other people's perspectives? Are they talking to each other, connecting with people, not just the people they came with who might be like them, but most importantly, people that may not be like them? And this work has actually led us to having to do a lot of internal work, because if this is your mission with your community, if your goal, if your mission is to try to build empathy and understanding and inspiration between people, you have to do that internally. So we're inspired by the work that is happening in organizational development and organizational culture. How does everybody feel a sense of belonging within the workplace? How do we build a work culture that supports that kind of bridging across difference? And how do we give that sort of inspiration to our own staff, our own volunteers, and our own community, in addition to the broader community we serve? So that's a little bit about us. If you haven't been here, we hope you'll come back. Friday nights, you'll see social cohesion in complete action. We have a few more weeks. We close down Friday nights, which is out in the garden. We have live music. It's free. You have to buy a ticket to go into the galleries, but the live programming is free. We work with Off the Grid, so there's great food in the food trucks every Friday night. We'll close that down for a couple of months during the November, December holiday season. And then in the winter, we do a new program on Thursday nights, a little more adult in nature. We use our cafe, and we have programming in the galleries. And I'll also mention we have our 30th annual Dia de los Muertos celebration, our cultural celebrations, which are a hallmark of the museum. This is our 30th year on Sunday, October 27th. And it takes this space that you've seen as a conference venue and converts it into a sacred space to honor our ancestors. So we hope you'll come back. Thank you.